لله الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة فمن يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد واهتدى ومن يعص الله ورسوله فقد ضل وغوى فإنه لا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا نسأل الله ربنا أن يجعلنا ممن يطيعه ويطيع رسوله ويتبع رضوانه ويجتنب سخطه فإنما نحن به ولا أما بعد فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار فأعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم من همزه ونفخه ونفثه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولئن سألتهم من خلق السماوات والأرض وسخر الشمس والقمر ليقولن الله فأنى يؤفكون O the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you ask them who has created the heavens and the earth and who is controlling the sun and the moon, they will surely say, Allah. فَأَنَّا يُؤْفَكُونَ, where they are being deluded and where they have been deceived. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. Alhamdulillah, we all are Muslims and belief of Islam is based upon belief of Tawheed. Tawheed, oneness of Allah, is that basic faith and that basic faith upon which the whole building of Islam and Islamic creed is founded. And what Tawheed actually is, if somebody asks us, and even the small children of Muslims very well know what Tawheed is. That is believing in oneness of Allah, nothing else. There is no complex things, there is no complexity, there is no deep philosophy of having got understood the oneness of Allah. So believing in oneness of Allah, we consider it, this is actually creed of Tawheed. Right? If this is Tawheed, Allah is one in person, that is called Tawheed fi dhat, Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, one kind of Tawheed, oneness in person. The second is oneness of Lordship, or you may say oneness of Lordship, oneness of divinity, oneness of names. Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, and Tawheed al-Asma wa Sifat. We all know what oneness of Allah is, and we are proud and we claim that we, alhamdulillah, believe in oneness of Allah, and we are, alhamdulillah, muwahhideen, believing in oneness of Allah. The ayah, the words which I have recited in the beginning, is from Surah Al-Ankabut. Allah Almighty has suggested the Holy Prophet ﷺ to ask to whom? To ask, وَلَئِنْ سَأَلْتَهُمْ مَنْ خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ. If you ask them, who has created the heaven and the earth? وَسَخَّرَ الشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ. Who is controlling whole the universe? The sun and the moon. Who is controlling? لَيَقُولُنَّ اللَّهُ. They would surely say, Allah is doing all this. It means that they believe in Allah. They believe in oneness of Allah. They believe in His name, His Asma and Sifat. And that is called Tawheed of actions. Tawheed in actions, Tawheed in ibadah, Tawheed in Rububiyyah, Tawheed in person, Tawheed in zat. So it means that they believe in Tawheed, but whom this question is being asked, not from the Muslims. This question is asked from the pagans of Makkah. Do you know? Who are they? Were they muwahhideen? Were they believers? No, they were non-believers. They were mushrik, they were pagans. And they were registered Jahannami, going to hellfire. Quran says they were enemies of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, enemies of Allah. So if they believe the same belief of oneness of Allah as we have, and we observe the same belief in oneness of Allah, why they are mushrik and we are muwahhideen? What's the difference between us and them? The same, we believe in oneness of Allah, they believe in oneness of Allah. Allah Akbar. So this creed of pagans, it is not only mentioned only on one place in Surah Al-Ankabut, but it is mentioned on various places in the Holy Quran. For example, in Surah Mu'minun, in Surah Zukhruf, Surah Yunus, and Surah Al-Ankabut, and other places as well. The same. لَا يَقُولُنَّ اللَّهُ. If you ask them, who has created this universe? They would say, Allah. Who is controlling this universe? Who is the authority? Who has the power? Who has the strength? Who has the actually administrator? Who is the administrator of this universe? They would say Allah. Who extends the provisions? Who restricts the provision? يَبْسُطُ الرِّزْقَ وَيَقْدِرُ. Who extends your provisions and who restricts? They would say, Allah. Who sends water from the sky? And who sends each and everything from the earth and from the sky? They would surely say, Allah does all this. This is pure Tawheed, subhanallah. It's the belief of Tawheed we all claim to believe in. So what's the difference? This is the only point which I will try to mention, and I will try to explain for myself on and yourself, just as a remembrance, as a tadhkir. Do we stick to the creed of Tawheed actually or not? This is my question. to myself own and to all of you and to whole of Ummah. Claiming something is something else. And having that creed and faith actually is something else. So, as far as I mentioned, 3 kinds of Tawheed, you all are aware of these 3 kinds. And oneness of Allah, they do believe. They would have belief in oneness of Allah in person. And they would have belief in, I am talking about the pagans, whom the creed is mentioned in the Holy Quran. So Allah Almighty has mentioned that they never said that Allah is not the authority of this universe. They believe in oneness of Allah and His authority as well on all the things of the creatures. So what was the difference in their creed due to which they were declared pagans, they were declared mushrik, not muwahhideen? They associated some other entities into this creed of Tawheed, this belief of Tawheed, associated something. They do believe in oneness of Allah, but they also believe in something else as well. For example, there is a hadith mentioned in Muslim or Tirmidhi. The Holy Prophet ﷺ asked the father of Imran bin Hussein radiallahu ta'ala. Imran bin Hussein was a companion, one of the companions of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. His father, who was from the pagans. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ asked him, Abu Imran, how many gods do you believe in? How many gods do you believe in? The Holy Prophet ﷺ asked from Imran, the father of Imran bin Hussein, Abu Imran. He said, I believe in 7 gods. One is big and he's in the heavens. And the 6 are on the earth. And they are small gods. Look how innocent the pagans were from Makkah. They were innocently declaring and mentioning that we believe in so many gods. And we have associated 6 other gods with oneness of God. This is actually a problem. Look, Quran mentions it in Surah Zumar, ayat number 3, and also in Surah Yunus, ayat number 18. Quran says this is the difference. This was actually lacking something in their belief which made them mushrik, not muwahhid. Quran says they have the point of view and they justify their worshipping of the idols and statues and other entities. They justified. How? They said, مَا نَعْبُدُهُمْ إِلَّا لِيُقَرِّبُونَا إِلَى اللَّهِ زُلْفَى. Actually, we are not worshipping them. And if we do something practically as a worship for them, actually we are worshipping them just for the reason, for the sake that they would make us nearer to Allah in position. We are going to make us our positions better, nearer to Allah, through them. So this was the point of view. This was the justification they gave, that we are worshipping other things, associating other gods, other idols and statues. For what? They are making us near to Allah, nothing else. And same is mentioned in Surah Yunus, وَيَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ مَا لَا يَضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يَنْفَعُهُمْ. They do worship of the person, of the things, of the entities which neither harms them nor benefits them. مَا لَا يَضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يَنْفَعُهُمْ. This authority is in Allah's hands. So if they are worshipping any of the entities from the creatures except the Creator, They are associating something to him. So Quran says, وَيَقُولُونَ, with doing all this, they justify themselves. وَيَقُولُونَ هَؤُلَاءِ شُفَعَاؤُنَا عِندَ اللَّهِ. They are the intercessors towards Allah. They are intercessors. They are shufa'ana. They are doing shufa'ah to Allah and making us nearer to Allah with their intercession. Nothing else. This was the justification from pagans of Makkah. That's why they became mushrik from wahid. They became mushrik from wahid while claiming and believing in oneness of Allah. Whenever you ask him, وَلَئِنْ سَأَلْتَهُمْ مَنْ خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ وَسَخَّرَ الشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ لَيَقُولُنَّ اللَّهُ. Having the belief that Allah does all the things and Allah has the authority, He is the sole authority in this world. After having got this belief, even then they became mushrik, not mu'min. This was the actually point missing. Look, as far as three kinds of Tawheed are concerned, philosophically and academically, just you may compare. The first one, oneness in person, Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, of Lordship, they do believe. And the third one, Asma wa Sifat, or Tawheed fil Af'al, oneness in action, the names, they do believe Allah does all the things. The part of Tawheed which was missing in their lives, that was Tawheed fil Ibadah, Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah. They do worship other things with Allah, except Allah. As Abu Ibrahim says, I do believe in 7 gods. One is big in its skies, in the heavens, and 6 are on the earth. So look, we the Muslims of this age, we do believe so many gods, alive and dead. So many entities we believe in. From them, if we have some fear, if we have some hope, fear and hope, these are the two entities and two abilities, two capabilities, are two of our human personality. If they both are associated with Allah, only with Allah, then this is Tawheed. And if fear or hope is associated to any other creatures or any other entity from the creatures, it would become shirk, not Tawheed, even after having belief in oneness of Allah. This is mentioned in the Holy Quran. Allah Akbar. So, Tawheed fil Ibadah, that is actually, that was the misconception of pagans of Makkah. Tawheed fil Ibadah. What Ibadah is? The second number of from the kinds of Tawheed. Tawheed of divinity. Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah. Or in other words, Tawheed fil Ibadah. We say we are doing Ibadah. Alhamdulillah, we are gathered in a mosque at the moment to have the ritual of Jummah, Friday prayer, and we visit mosque 5 times a day. This is Ibadah, and we observe fasting every year. That's the Ibadah, and same is the case with Hajj and Zakat. We are observing Ibadah. Is this Ibadah? Is this the demand and only demand of Tawheed? No. Ibadah, look, Ibadah is not to having observed some set of rituals. We actually, when translate Ibadah into English, we translate it with the word worship. Correct? Worship. Ibadah. What the other people from other religions and other religious traditions, how they worship. Just they have some set of rituals to observe. And same we are observing. If we are coming 5 times a day in mosque and we are observing fasting in every year, This is the set of rituals which is given by the Holy Prophet ﷺ to observe ibadah. But actually, ibadah is, and set of rituals is part of observing Tawheed, and that is a demonstration of, a practical demonstration of that belief if we have in our minds. But actually, this is part of Abadiyya. The ibadah is part of Abadiyya. Allah has demanded from us Abadiyya, not ibadah. Ibadah is just to demonstrate oneself that we are in Abadiyya. What's the difference? Ibadah and Abadiyya both are from Abd. And what's the meaning of Abd? A slave. And who is the slave? A slave who is in all ways and by all means, he has no authority at all. He is the slave. And specifically with reference to that culture when the Quran was revealed. What was the culture of slavery? A slave has no right. All the rights were with the owner. So, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. This is the sole purpose of our lives, just to be the slaves of Allah. And slavery means complete submission, not partial submission. We have submitted ourselves towards Allah, but partially. We do associate so many things. Sometimes we obey some person, sometimes we obey some theory, some law, some philosophy, other than wahi and other than Allah and His Prophet ﷺ. If we obey any of these things, this is actually association and being having a belief of association and associating something toward in oneness of Allah. The Quran says, if somebody says, I am an independent person and I do whatever comes in my mind and I am a free person. Look, Allah says, أَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ. He is actually associating his desires in oneness of Allah. He has changed his ilah. Now he has submitted toward his desires. Look, this is very sensitive case. So that's why the Holy Prophet ﷺ has taught us a dua, a supplication, to be observed from all of us in our daily routine zikr. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min an ushrika bika shay'an a'lamuhu wa astaghfiruka lima la a'lam. Allah, prevent us from all kinds of shirk, which we do knowingly or unknowingly. This is very sensitive. So, in one hadith, the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّ أَخْبَ فَمَا أَخَافُ عَلَيْكُمْ الشِّرْكُ الْأَصْغَرُ. The most I fear from you in the remaining lives is small shirk. You will do small shirk, الشِّرْكُ الْأَصْغَرُ. وَمَا الشِّرْكُ الْأَصْغَرُ? Ya Rasulullah, what's that shirk? Small shirk? Riya, showing off. If you are doing some actions just to show off others, it means that you have the belief that somebody can benefit you or somebody can harm you. So the same hope and fear. If fear and hope, if any entity from the creatures is associated in this fear and hope, it means that our belief in oneness of Allah is not perfect. We must perfect our belief because it is the foundation stone. It is the foundation of all the creeds. It is the Islamic belief. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to be and to stick to this creed and this belief of Tawheed practically as a complete submission, having complete submission. Not partial submission is not accepted. Partial submission is not acceptable. Allah Almighty says in Surah Zumar, I would finish and complete my talk with this, mention this ayah. Allah Almighty says, if you have gone wrong in your lives, La taqnatu min rahmatillah, don't be disappointed from Allah's grace and Allah's bounties and rahmah. Subhanallah. Why don't be disappointed? Inna Allah yaghfiru dhunuba jami'a. He will forgive all the sins. Why? He will forgive all the sins. Why? Innahu huwa al-ghafurur rahim. Because He is the forgiver and He is the merciful and gracious. So what to do to have this privilege, to have this rahmah and have this forgiveness? What to do? Only one thing. Complete submission. Quran says, وَأَنِيبُوا إِلَىٰ رَبِّكُمْ وَأَسْلِمُوا لَهُ. Turn back and bow before your Lord. وَأَسْلِمُوا لَهُ. And just submit yourself in front of Him. This is Tawheed. May Allah give us tawfiq to make our lives completely and perfectly submitted to the Lord of the Lords, Ilah al-Alameen, Rabb al-Alameen. And this is actually demand of oneness of Allah and this creed. It's not only a theological issue to be understood, it is actually a practical phenomena and practical criterion to be observed practically. May Allah give us tawfiq wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم من همزه ونفخه ونفثه. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم اغفر لنا سيامين. اللهم اغفر لنا وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات وألف بين قلوبهم وأصلح ذات بينهم وانصرهم على عدوك وعدوهم. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين في كل مكان وأذل الشرك والمشركين وأذل النفاق والمنافقين وأذل الكفر والكافرين ودمر على أعداء الدين. اللهم لا تقتلنا بغضبك ولا تهلكنا بعذابك وعافنا قبل ذلك. اللهم استر عوراتنا وامن روعاتنا. اللهم احفظنا من بين يدينا ومن خلفنا وعن يميننا وعن شمالنا ومن فوقنا ونعوذ بعظمتك أن نغتال من تحتنا. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف
وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.